Hello, scholars. I hope you had a wonderful 3-day weekend. Today in science, we're going to talk about changes from heat. So what happens to matter when we add heat and we take heat away? Let's think about this first. Adding heat causes melting. What happens if you add heat to ice? Like if you put ice out on a hot day? Well, the ice is going to melt. It changes from a solid to a liquid. But adding heat changes texture as well. Remember, texture is how rough or smooth something feels. Ice may be bumpy or rough, and adding heat melts the edges and creates smooth water. Think about if you've ever held an ice cube in your hand. Maybe even pause this video and go to your freezer and grab an ice cube. Put it in your hand, and if you touch it around the edges, it's probably pretty rough or bumpy. And then the longer it sits in your hand, because your hand is adding heat to the ice, it's going to melt and become smoother. Heat changes things in other ways. I want you to think about how heat changes these items. We're going to think together and pause the video if you need more time to think. Look at this burner. This is a burner you might find on your stove at home. The burner changed what? Did it change color, size, or shape? Very good, it changed color. It was black and now it is red. What about this popcorn? How did the popcorn change? To help you, this is a picture of popcorn kernels before we add heat and they are popped. So did it change color, size, or shape? This was a tricky question. It actually changed all three. It was a kind of orange color, now it's white. The size changed because they popped open and they're bigger. And of course the shape changed as well. They changed from an oval, kind of like a teardrop, to popcorn. What about this last one? How did the candy change? Very good. It changed shape because when we added heat, it melted. Now, matter doesn't just change when we add heat, it also changes when we take heat away. When we cool something, we take heat away. Water freezes when heat is removed. But think, freezing doesn't add cold. We don't add cold to items. We take heat away. Cooling changes things. Taking away heat freezes liquids. When a liquid freezes, it becomes a solid. Freezing gives liquids a shape. How else can cooling change things? Red hot objects are not red after they cool. Removing heat from smooth water can make ice cubes with rough edges. That means cooling something can change its shape and texture. Look at this picture. Cream mixed with sugar is runny, but it turns into solid ice cream when it cools. The man here is making a horseshoe. It will turn black when it cools again, or when we take heat away. So today, scholars, you are going to write about what you think happens when marshmallows are added to hot cocoa. So first, think about drinking hot cocoa on a cold day. I know it hasn't been very cold yet, but we're getting to that cold weather. What do you think will happen to the marshmallows in the cocoa? Look at the picture to help you. Write about how you think the shapes of the marshmallows will change, and describe why the change happened. I'm going to give you some sentence stems to help you, because in your response, I expect at least 3 sentences. So remember, I'm going back to my prompt and I see it says, what do you think will happen to the marshmallows in the cocoa? So my first sentence is going to say, I think the marshmallows will blank. What do you think is going to happen? Then it says, write about how you think the shapes of the marshmallows will change. So my next sentence will say, the shapes of the marshmallows will blank. How is the shape of the marshmallow going to change? And then lastly, describe why the change happened. Think about what we read about in this video and what we learned last week. This change happens because blank. Remember, think about the things we learned in this video and in last week's lessons. So if you need to pause the video to write down some of these sentence stems, that's fine. I will also put them on your assignment in Schoology. See you on Thursday!